Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. Nelson Mandela. According to the UN Sustainable Development Goals website, obtaining a quality education is the foundation to creating sustainable development. In addition to improving quality of life, access to inclusive education can help equip locals with the tools required to develop innovative solutions to the world's greatest problems. When people are able to get a quality education, they can break from the cycle of poverty. If a child receives a quality education, they can go to college and get a job, providing them with an education. Then they can go back and help their community, following the CST theme of called family, community, and participation. It also empowers people everywhere to live more healthy and sustainable lives. Education is also crucial to fostering tolerance between people and contributes to more peaceful societies and reduce inequalities and promote gender equality. Education is widely accepted to be a fundamental resource, both for individuals and societies. In most countries, basic education is perceived not only as a right, but as a duty. Governments are expected to ensure access to basic education, while citizens are often required by law to attain education up to a certain basic level.
How education can help in life. Economic development. 1 extra year of schooling increases an individual's earning by up to 10%. Each additional year of schooling rises average annual gross domestic product (GDP) growing by 0.37%. Environment. Universalizing upper secondary education by 2013 would prevent 200,000 disaster-related deaths in the 20 years that follow. If education progress is stalled, it could lead to a 20% increase in disaster-related fatalities per decade.
Here are the worldwide statistics. 263 million, or 1 in 5 children aged 6 to 17, are not in school. Global literacy rates have been climbing over the course of the last 2 centuries, but some countries, mainly in sub-Saharan Africa, still have literacy rates below 30%. Conflict and natural disasters have disrupted the education of 75 million children. In 1 of 3 countries, less than 3/4 of teachers are trained to national standards, resulting in 130 million children enrolled in school who are not even learning the basics. There are 168 million child labor workers aged 5 to 17.
The education of, or lack thereof, youth globally are affected by differences in race, poverty, and gender. We will discuss race and poverty later on, so for now, let's look at gender. In 2016, 132 million girls were out of school worldwide. Girls are 1.5 times more likely than boys to be excluded from primary school. That's 15 million girls of primary school age who will never have the opportunity to learn to read and write in primary school, compared to about 10 million boys. Some countries lose more than $100 billion a year by failing to educate girls to the same level as boys. The importance of educating girls cannot be stressed enough. Universal secondary education could virtually end child marriage. If all women had a primary education, there would be 1.7 million fewer malnourished children. It is important to acknowledge the mercy-critical concern of fullness of life for women.
So now that you are undoubtedly completely overwhelmed by all these facts and figures, let's narrow our focus to the U.S. The education system in America, while displaying more equality than others around the world, has its share of issues, specifically regarding race and poverty. It is important that we address the mercy-critical concern of racism. Statistics from 1992 to 2015 show the dropout rate for African Americans has decreased from 13% to 6%, and the Hispanic dropouts have reduced from 32% to 9%. 21% of children in the U.S. are living in poverty. While only 12% of those children are white, 38% of those children are African American and 32% are Hispanic. The U.S. has a high school graduation rate of 93%, with the white American graduation rate being 95%, the African American rate being 92%, and the Hispanic rate being only 88%. But these numbers are a national average. Areas affected by poverty do not see the same graduation rates.
Now let's narrow our focus one step further to our own backyard, the Philadelphia school system. More than 15,000 children are stranded in Philadelphia schools that are failing, meaning they are scoring below 40 on the SPP. 70% of the children in these schools are African American, and 79% live in poverty. When it comes to finding good schools for their children, more and more parents are fleeing school districts for any better alternative, whether it be private schools or simply moving to another district. Citywide, just 36% of district grads go on to college. Every school in the school district of Philadelphia satisfies the federal definition of a low-income school, meaning at least 30% of their students are low income. In the least poor school, Greenburgh, the rate is 44%. Teachers leave the school district of Philadelphia at an especially high rate of 27%. Now that you've seen all the troubling statistics and facts, which hopefully stirred some sort of emotion in you, let's talk about what we can do about it, looking especially at the CST themes of human dignity and call to family, community, and participation, as well as the mercy-critical concern of racism as it relates to poverty and the quality of education one receives.
First, we spoke to David Hardy. Mr. Hardy is the founder and former CEO of Boys Latin Charter School in West Philadelphia. Now he serves as senior advisor of the nonprofit Excellent Schools PA. This organization aims to promote school choice for parents, meaning they want parents to have choices of where to send their children to school so they can receive a good education. This involves providing vouchers for low-income students to attend private schools, as well as encouraging parents to look into charter schools. We wanted to discuss the root of the problem in the Philadelphia school system. We asked Mr. Hardy what he felt was the main issue in Philly schools. Is it a lack of sufficient funding, poverty, race? His immediate response was, it's not all about the money, it's about the people. It's about creating schools where people can succeed. There needs to be 4 years of all types of classes, a luxury most Philly schools don't have due to a lack of resources. There needs to be better and more dedicated teachers. He admitted that nothing can be accomplished without money and that the funding policy needed to be improved as well. He also said that race is an important issue, especially in how it corresponds to poverty in the inner city schools. It's all interconnected: race, poverty, education. Mr. Hardy also said that the issue with Philadelphia schools is not only that it is inadequate, it is that it insists on being uniform. Because of this, most all of the schools are inadequate, so improvements are slow-moving. As the founder of Boys Latin Charter School, we wanted to next ask about the differences between charter and public schools in Philly. Mr. Hardy said that it is important for people to stop focusing on what type of schools a child is being sent to, but what students are getting out of that school. He stressed the importance of parents being able to choose and have a number of good options of where to send their kids to school. The only options shouldn't be either sending their kids to a failing school or moving out of the district, an action not possible for impoverished families. Therefore, the school choice menu needs to be expanded and more charter schools need to be built.
Next, we spoke to Dr. Michelle Williams. Dr. Williams is the assistant head of school at Girard College, a full scholarship private boarding school in Philadelphia. Prior to Girard, Michelle was employed at Community College of Philadelphia and the University of the Sciences in Philadelphia. Because of her extensive experience, she has a panoramic understanding of educational settings and academic processes and procedures. She spoke to us about the importance of obtaining an education in order to go back and help your community. She went to Merion Mercy, so she values the private education, but also recognizes the importance of having a good public school system for people who unfortunately do not have the resources to attend a school like Merion.
Based on our research, interviews, and experiences through this Praxis process, we've decided to take charge. We've come up with a list of policies that, once implemented, should have drastic results on the education system. Examples of ideas from Finland, a country which is said to have the best education system in the world. Teachers are well respected, no one pays for school, increased amount of recess, no more than 5 hours of school a day, no homework until high school, and a minimal amount of homework in high school.
This is our policy proposal. First, the school district needs to be reformed. The education system as a whole depends on the dedication and hard work of those in the school district offices and on the Board of Education. We feel that those elected to the board should come from all walks of life, so that there may be some members of the board who have experienced Philly schools or other impoverished areas' inner city schools firsthand. Making it harder to become a teacher, such as making it mandatory for them to get a master's. None of this can be done without dedicated teachers whose primary goal is to help educate children and improve their child's future. Create more community centers, such as Visitation in Kensington, which we visited. These community centers are open for kids to come after school and provide tutoring and recreational activities for those in the community. Visitation also provides English classes for immigrants. Build more charter schools. Charter schools often provide more opportunities for students and their families, and the school choice menu needs to be expanded in order for a child to receive the education they need. Impoverished people should have the ability to choose the best education for them and their families. Our policy recognizes the importance of the CST theme of human dignity, that all people deserve a quality education no matter their race, gender, or social class.